Well, good morning from wherever you are watching this from. This week we're talking about just a few verses in the Gospel of John, the part where Jesus does the miraculous thing where he walks on water. And all I want to do is point out something that the ancient Israelites would probably recognize before we would recognize it. And that's the symbolism that comes with the fact that Jesus is walking on what they would call a sea, the Sea of Galilee, because this is really significant. And you have to know something about ancient Israelite culture to be able to understand the impact that what John is writing would have had on the original readers of this. So in ancient Hebrew thought, the sea was the symbol for chaos and even evil. If it stems all the way back to Genesis 1, what was the world before God started creation? It was this dark, watery, chaotic thing, this wild and waste where the Spirit of God was hovering over the deep. And it's there that God breaks in and brings light and calm and order and peace. God shows that he has power over the chaotic waters. And this idea really grew and transformed from their real life experience with the water. Plenty of people back then made their living on the water. So the seas were seen as being able to give life, right? You could fish and you could pull your living from your sustenance even from the waters. But just as quickly, the waters could turn dangerous and violent, and the wind and the waves could come and you could lose your life on the waters. And it's not like us where we have tools like submarines. We could go beneath the waters. We have pretty sturdy boats. That's not the case for them back then. And so the waters, again, were just seen as this unknowable force beneath the murky depths. You just don't know what's there, the monsters that lurk, or when the waves and the wind will come and you could be swept overboard, or your boat could sink and the seas could cause you to die. Here's how one psalmist puts this. This is Psalm 69. Save me, O God, for the waters have come up to my neck. I sink in the miry depths where there is no foothold. I have come into the deep waters. The floods engulf me. I am worn out from calling for help. My throat is parched. My eyes fail looking for God. This person is describing this situation that feels like there's no hope. And what are they using? They're sinking into the sea. Okay, so this is so significant because even in the book of Revelation, the last pages of the Bible, God, or the author, uses this metaphor to talk about what the new heaven and the new earth will look like. In Revelation 21:1, it says, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away." This is the time when everything is being made right in the world. Look what they say. The sea was no more. There's no more chaotic, evil force at work in the world. So in the story, when the disciples are in the boat and the waves and the winds are raging, they think they're facing certain death. And there's really two levels to this. They are facing certain death on a physical level, but then I think John is also, as he's done throughout this gospel, pointing to a spiritual level too. In some sense, the disciples are in the chaotic waters, just in their lives, being part of this world. We could say the same for us too. At some level, all of us are in the boat being lashed by the wind and the waves. All of us are in danger from this chaotic, evil force that seems to just be permeated throughout this world. And who do they see but Jesus walking on the water, coming towards them? He's not panicking. He's not sinking down into the depths. He's calm as can be, and he walks right on top of the wind and the waves to make it to their boat, to the point where we're told he gets into the boat. He can't be on shore. He's getting into the boat. And so why is this significant? Because only God had the power over the wind and waves. Here's another verse from Psalm 77. When the waters saw you, O God, when the waters saw you, they were afraid. Indeed, the deep trembled. Job 9:8. He alone stretches out the heavens and treads on the waves of the sea. The disciples would have known this. They know that only God has the power over the wind and the waves. Only God has the power over the chaotic, evil forces at work in the world. So when Jesus walks on the water, the disciples see he is like God. He is the one who has power over the wind and waves just like God. And this works on both a physical level, right? Jesus is going to help them get back to the shore like immediately. It's like a second miracle that this happens where they're just back to where they're supposed to be. But then I think this also happens on a spiritual level, because only through a life connected with Jesus that we're able to get ourselves out of the stormy sea and find salvation from the chaotic forces of this world. And so what do we take from this for ourselves? I think, one, it's recognizing that we're in the boat and we can either be in the boat subject to the chaotic, evil forces of this world alone, and God bless you if that is your choice in how you want to get through this world. But then also I think we can recognize that Jesus wants to be in the boat with us, and that what does it mean for us to be in the boat with the one who has the power over those things? Like that's the choice that I want to make for my life. But then also too, I think it goes to show that what we believe about Jesus really matters. Who you say he is and what you think that he has the power to do really makes an impact on your life. Do you believe this story? On a physical level and a spiritual level. If you think that Jesus was just at the shore and the disciples were, as some scholars have said, he wasn't really walking on the water, he was just close to the shore and they saw him and, it grew peaceful. If that's what you believe, then I would say that you're missing a piece of the puzzle of who Jesus is and what his connection is like to God. But even more importantly, perhaps, would be that you're missing the ability for Jesus to get into the boat with you and calm whatever circumstances are going on in your life where you feel like you are being tossed by the waves and the wind. Only Jesus has the power to rescue us from the chaotic forces of this world. It doesn't mean that our life will be perfect. It doesn't mean that we won't get, jostled by the wind and the waves. It means that Jesus is the one who has the power to see it through it, to see us through it, because Jesus is the one that can walk on water, both on a physical sense. I absolutely believe that, but more importantly, on a spiritual sense too. Jesus wants to get in your boat and help you get where you're going. I don't know if you believe that this morning, but my hope is that you will spend some time just thinking about that. Who do you say that Jesus is? Do you believe that he has the power over the wind and waves, whatever that means for you and your life and what you're experiencing today? Amen.